It rarely begins with a loud crash. It begins in silence. Subtle. Almost invisible. You're 7 years old, staring into the tired eyes of a parent who is unraveling. Maybe they're drowning in addiction. Maybe their anger fills the room. Maybe it's just a heavy, suffocating absence, the kind of emptiness that leaves you feeling smaller every day. And in that moment, something ancient awakens inside your young mind. If I don't hold things together, no one will. That's the quiet beginning of a vanishing act, not of your body, but of your childhood. You learn to smile when you don't feel like it. You swallow tears before they form. You read every shift in the room like a weather forecast. You become the emotional anchor for people twice your size. And strangely, the world claps for you. You're so mature. You're so responsible. You're so strong. But no one pauses to ask, at what cost? This is the hidden grief of children who had to grow up before they were ready. Because what starts in those early years doesn't simply vanish. It follows you into your relationships, into your work, into the way you measure your own worth. The truth is, the survival patterns that saved you as a child may be the very patterns that slowly suffocate you as an adult. Psychologists have a word for this: parentification. It's what happens when the roles flip, when a child becomes the caretaker, the peacekeeper, the therapist, the protector. It's not just unfair, it's developmental sabotage. It reshapes the brain, because when you're constantly responsible for other people's emotions, your nervous system wires itself for hypervigilance. You're always scanning. Is it safe to speak? Is someone about to explode? What mood is waiting on the other side of that door? You tiptoe through life on eggshells, learning that love is conditional, that peace is a transaction. If I keep everyone calm, maybe I'll be safe. Your own needs, they feel dangerous. Theirs, always urgent. So you vanish, not in body, but in spirit. In your place grows a high-functioning version of you, the good child, the quiet achiever, the therapist friend, the one who never asks for anything. And you perform that role so convincingly that eventually, even you believe it. But beneath that mask, something aches, because the child you buried didn't disappear. They're still inside, silently asking, why didn't anyone protect me? As you grow older, the symptoms evolve. You might pride yourself on being independent, but deep down you refuse help because dependence feels like danger. You might feel numb during joy, because joy feels foreign, unsafe, unearned. You might grind yourself into exhaustion, because being productive is the only way you've ever felt worthy. And the cruelest part, you might not even realize you're still in survival mode, because when chaos becomes your childhood baseline, calmness feels suspicious, stillness feels wrong, love feels like a debt. This is the hidden cost of being forced to grow up too fast. It's not just sadness, it's complex trauma, a reshaping of how you see love, safety, and yourself. Why does a child step into that impossible role? Not because they want to, but because biology leaves them no choice. A child will abandon their own authenticity if it means securing attachment. That sacrifice isn't weakness, it's instinct. It's survival. But here's the tragedy. What once saved you now traps you. And so many high-functioning adults are still quietly run by that neglected child within. We overperform to earn love. We stay silent to avoid rejection. We pour ourselves into caring for others while secretly longing for someone, anyone, to finally notice us. And the fantasy lingers, that one day someone will see through the mask, that they'll tell you it's safe to collapse, to cry, to finally be held. But that need doesn't belong to your adult self. It belongs to the child who never got to be a child. The first step in healing isn't fixing, it's witnessing, acknowledging the reality without minimizing it. It wasn't my fault. I deserved protection. I was just a kid, because fine is just another mask. And deep down you know it. When those children grow into adults, the patterns persist. They apologize for having emotions. They flinch at kindness. They confuse exhaustion with success. They mistake anxiety for intuition. They carry chaos in their bones, even in peaceful rooms. But healing asks something radical of you, to turn toward that buried child and whisper, I see you, I hear you, and I'm not leaving this time. That's shadow work, not bypassing with positivity, not numbing with productivity, but grieving the birthdays no one celebrated, mourning the innocence lost, and letting yourself finally feel what you never had space to feel. Grief here is not weakness, it's proof of thawing. What was frozen is moving again, and slowly you start to rewrite the story. You ask, what did I need back then that I never got? Maybe someone to tell you it wasn't your fault. Maybe permission to rest, to play, to laugh without fear. And piece by piece, You give that to yourself now. Carl Jung wrote, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain. Facing those abandoned parts isn't easy, but it's the only way back to wholeness. Because healing isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be." And here's the truth. Your childhood stole choices from you, but adulthood gives them back. Now you can choose softness. You can choose rest. You can choose to stop carrying everyone else's storms and start honoring your own needs. No, it won't happen overnight. Some days you'll feel like that lost child again, and that's okay. That's the point. Let them come home. Let them cry. Let them be seen. Because you were never broken. You were surviving. And now for the first time you have the chance to truly grow. Not from fear or duty, but from truth. You never had a childhood, but you still have a future. And this time you get to write.